Well, hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Joanne and welcome. So if you're new here, great to see you. To my regulars and my choir members, randomly refreshed YouTube and here I am. Surprise! Yeah, here I am. So there's been a little bit of, last night we talked about Christian Porter having his legal fees paid by what's called a blind trust. And there's been a big fallout with that, including the Prime Minister now launching an inquiry. Hello, Cal. Hello, Rufus. Launching an inquiry to see whether there have been any rules broken. There's a whole range of opinions all over Twitter at the moment, and everything from he's unfit to being government. The Greens have stated they're going to when Parliament returns, they're going to file a no confidence motion against him. So there is huge fallout over that. The other thing is there's more Malcolm Turnbull. He's done all the media tours today with his thoughts on it. We've got, what else have we got to talk about? I know opinions on Twitter. Twitter is he's trending on Twitter at the moment, which is really quite scary. We've got a follow-up on the Big Bird Bandit. Yes, the Big Bird Bandit. We up on. The OECD has actually called on Australia to raise the GST and to raise the government benefits. Hello. They might do it. And yeah, so there's quite a few different opinions on Christian Porter. Then we're going to head to Katie Joy because Todd Chrisley has said the paperwork for the defamation is being ready. And today she went after another person, and it's all about this another person. Yeah, she's gone against, did a whole lot of tweets and Instagrams on a reality TV star today. And Todd Chrisley has tagged the person to say that he will give them a copy of his defamation suit. So there could be some more defamation. No, Rufus, I haven't seen your KJ video. I need to see that. I remember you tagged me in it. We might pull it up. We might have a look at it tonight. There is one that's circling as well. There's KJ videos popping up everywhere. I'll grab that and find that for you. So that's essentially how we're going to play out tonight. The other thing is that Shepparton in country Victoria comes out of lockdown tonight. Ballarat in country Victoria goes into lockdown tonight. Multiple of cases. So it looks like they're going to just be locking down regional areas that get a few cases. And we're still in lockdown. Well, a few legal experts have been getting involved in this as well, but I used to change for donors. They can stay anonymous, but the fact he denies any knowledge of who it is. Well, according to what I've read on, because I've got some screenshots from the Prime Minister from the Prime Minister's office, and I mean, and things over Twitter saying that it's 12.5 of the Ministerial Code of Conduct. So we might actually have a look we might pull up and see whether we can find whether there's a breach. That might be fun. I've also got a oh wow, are they curfews in lockdown LGAs in Sydney? Wow. Well, we've still got our curfew that the city has. The regions don't, but the city has. Hello, Taylor Cliz. And I've got something from the ABC morning program yesterday where the guy doing the sports report slipped up and inadvertently says a rude word. I shouldn't laugh. Hilarious. That's going to be our palate cleanser tonight because it is hilarious. And he just, the way that he deals with it, and people, I'm sorry. All right. So, hello, Will. We'll be covering a little bit of, you saw that plan to create? You know exactly what I'm talking about the slip disc. Sorry, the enlarged disc. No, your power just tripped, Cal. So, let's start with Porter because, as I said, there is a lot of fallout from that today. And Twitter, he's actually trending on Twitter now due to this. So here is the thing, because the Prime Minister's now been involved. So this is what it says. So this is from the Australian Financial Review. So we're going to look at different articles. So it says he could be forced to reverse his decision to accept help with his legal fees after Scott Morrison raised concerns about a breach of ministerial standards. Now, I don't know why ScoMo would need to actually investigate this because they're his standards. Surely he would know what's in it. But anyway. So to his department for advice whether it breached ministerial standards. The Prime Minister is taking this matter very seriously and has discussed the matter with the Minister today, Mr. Morrison's office said in a statement. I believe, so from the stuff I've read on Twitter, that Porter was summoned to a meeting with the Prime Minister. So, despite accepting declaring such support being within the rules of parliamentary disclosure, the issue has attracted a storm of criticism from Labor, the Greens, legal observers, and former Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull, who called it a shocking affront to transparency. The other thing is, as the former Attorney General, it was his job to make sure that the ministerial standards were followed for everything. He would know. He would know. Getting called into the principal's office, yes. Well, he wouldn't have been. He would have had to have done it from, I don't know. It is understood, Mr. Morrison, who can ill afford another scandal in his government, spoke to Mr. Porter today. A source said Mr. Porter was considering his options, including whether to return the money or disclose the donors, the identity of whom he says he's unaware. Hang on. So he's either going to have to return the money or disclose the names of the people that he doesn't know who they are. That is crazy. If you're not aware of who gave you the money, then you can't disclose who they are, and therefore the only option is to return the money. Because if you're going to identify them, then you know who they are. Is that right? Is that right? If you don't know who it is, how can you name them? Mr. Porter declared on Tuesday that his fees stemming from his personal legal action launched against the ABC and journalist Louise Milligan earlier this year had been partly covered by a blind trust as the Legal Services Trust. Totally clueless. It probably came in a brown paper bag and was left on his doorstep, and it said, to Porter from the Legal Services Trust. Nobody cares about as long as they are winning from the house prices boom. Although all of the above contributions were made to me or were for my benefit in a purely personal capacity. In the interest of transparency and out of abundance of caution, I make this disclosure. That's what he said. Now, we've got here Anthony Wheely, QC, former Supreme Court judge and chairman of the Centre for Public Integrity, said there was a fundamental obligation on Mr. Porter to disclose the source of the donations to the Blind Trust. He must be able to find out who it is, so I can't understand why he's digging his heels in. He said it raised issues about undue influence because donations usually came with an expectation of favour in return. This is the question. Why would somebody fund somebody's defamation case without there being favours in return? What was it that was the favour? That's why voters are entitled to know who contributed to the Blind Trust. He said not revealing the donors left the impression that there is a reason, and it can't be a good reason. We said it smells. We said it smells. It is something that could be the subject for a federal ICAC if we have one. We don't have an integrity commission at a federal level because, again, the federal government are digging their heels. Shadow Attorney General Mark Dreyfus, who is a QC, questioned whether Mr. Porter accepting the money was even within the rules. The rules require that when members of Parliament, and he's a senior cabinet member, get a gift, they've got to disclose it. If he doesn't know the identity of the donor, he shouldn't accept the money. And if he does, know that you should disclose it. Mr. Dreyfus said it also raised the potential for influence peddling. That's why we have disclosure rules. That's why members of the public are entitled to know when when ministers and members of Parliament get gifts, who they are getting the gifts from. What if you find out 6 months or in a year that a criminal gave you the money or that a foreign country gave you the money and they put hooks into you? That's what this is about. Mr. Turnbull, who appointed Mr. Porter as the Attorney General before a bitter falling out, was flabbergasted by the declaration. This flies in the face of every principle of transparency and accountability in public life, he told Radio National. I will be even more staggered if the Prime Minister allows this to stand. It is a shocking affront to transparency. So that's from the Financial Review. And it's interesting because other federal ministers are doubling down and supporting. So this one is from The Guardian. So again, Malcolm Turnbull calls on Christian Porter's anonymous donation a shocking affront to transparency. So Malcolm Turnbull says Christian Porter's decision to accept money without knowing the source was an extraordinary obligation of responsibility after the former Attorney General declared part of his legal fees were paid by unknown donors. Hello, the Fox. So he updated his register of interests on Monday to add this. Woohoo! I'm on the big tally tonight. Woohoo! Porter declared he had no access to information about the conduct and the funding of the trust. So speaking to ABC Radio on Wednesday, Turnbull expressed a concern that the accountability implications, saying he was staggered that Porter thought he could get away with it, accepting donations without knowing the source. So that's that. And then they've got here this Twitter. We looked at his Twitter last night. So Turnbull was the Prime Minister from 2015 to 2018, which at the time he promoted Porter to his previous Attorney General portfolio, said it was wrong. And he was astonished MPs could accept donations from unknown sources in a personal capacity, a practice which is banned for political parties because it's a personal capacity. He wrote 5 or 6 times. He wrote 5 or 6 times that this lawsuit was about a personal capacity, and then he's talking about donors. What Porter is saying is that it is okay for an Australian Cabinet Minister, a former Attorney General, to take a large donation, a large gift to himself, without disclosing who the donor was, and apparently without him knowing who the donor was, Turnbull said. Now, don't forget, Sam Dastyari actually had to resign over accepting $1,000 from a Chinese businessman. And yet we've got a bill up to $500,000 being covered by donors. There's a little bit of hypocrisy here. The Treasurer, Josh Frydenberg, defended Porter, of course he would, saying he disclosed the donation in line with the rules and blamed the opposition for the criticism, which he labelled vicious personal smears. But it's interesting, it's the former Prime Minister that's actually the loudest opponent and the one that's making the biggest noise and the one that gave Porter his previous job. The point about Christian Porter's legal defence is that he did not use taxpayers' money, and that is very important, Frydenberg said in an interview with Sky News. But he did, because the ABC is funded by taxpayers, Frydenberg. Labor will continue with their vicious personal smears and campaigns. I don't think Australians have got time for it. I've got all the time in the world, Frydenberg. Sorry, I'm having a conversation with Josh Frydenberg here. I've got all the time in the world, Josh Frydenberg. I'm in lockdown. I've got all the time in the world. The person that gave money to Sam gave $50,000 to one of the bishop. Oh, wait, really? Yeah. Transparency International Australia was also highly critical of Porter's acceptance of money. Chief Executive Serena Lillywhite told The Guardian it was staggering that Porter would take the money. The most basic due diligence would require knowing and disclosing who ultimately stumped up the money, who manages the Legal Services Trust, and when the trust was established, she said. The hypocrisy is stark, given the growing pressure on non-government organisations and charities to disclose, which they do, who their donors are. And that is true. The new rules for non-government organisations is charities is that if they receive large donations, they actually have to disclose where those donations have come from as part of the law. So now we're saying that politicians don't. So Lillywhite said the public and Parliament had a right to know who was behind the money. If transparency and abundant caution were key drivers for the former Attorney General, he should never have accepted the money from an unknown source for an undisclosed amount. So Porter launched defamation action in May over an online article that alleged an unidentified cabinet minister had been accused of in January 1988 in a dossier sent to Scott Morrison and 3 other parliamentarians. He subsequently identified himself as the minister and strenuously denied the allegations. In May, Porter agreed to discontinue the action following mediation with the ABC. They agreed to add an editor's note. They paid for the mediation costs. He would not say who was funding his case. And then Turnbull, I just need to put you on hold for a minute. Continue. Sorry about that. All right. So this is so Porter's office has not ruled out questions to whether the minister can rule out the money came from prohibited donors. But see, they keep saying that no taxpayers' funds were used, but they were. They were used. So what are we all thinking about this? We don't know where it's coming from, and I think everyone's just jumping that it is. I think everyone's just assuming that it is coming from a questionable source. I mean, but here's the thing. Why are you hiding it? It's like the fact that he fought his defense. Why is he hiding it? The fact that he's trying so desperately to hide a whole pile of stuff gives you more questions and makes it seem a little bit more shady. All right, so then this is the ABC. So this is my Matthew Doran, and I've got some stuff that Matthew Doran posted on Twitter. So again, could be that could be funny. Oh, it was you, Will. Okay. Yes. Well, we need to find out who it was. Wouldn't you laugh if it came from Friendly Geordies? I would laugh if it came from Friendly Geordies. Oh, it would be hilarious, actually. Okay. So there is a whole, hello Rory. So yeah, there's some really weird stuff, but as I said, the Treasurer said it's within. So the Treasurer is saying it's within the rules. Of course he is. But Mr. Turnbull said, and this is what politicians or political parties can't take money from anonymous donors. He said, if you walk into the Liberal Party, with a bag over your head and a chaff bag full of cash and say, I want to make this donation, they won't. They can't accept it. I'm going to walk. Maybe I need to walk into the Liberal Party with a balaclava over my head, with the balaclava over my head, with the eyes cut out and the mouth cut out, and say, I want to make a donation. Labour leader Albanese described his supporters' disclosure as unbelievable and absurd. It is time that this minister understood that being a cabinet minister requires transparency, and it's time that Scott Morrison took action here, he said. That's precisely the sort of issue that undermines confidence in our political system. I know the pubs are closed at the moment, but this does not pass the pub test. The good old pub test, hey? So, well, technically it is a business entity, and therefore you could argue quite that the legal services, whatever trust, is actually the people that donated it. But for him to say he doesn't know who it is, and that's why they have these rules. So that's why there's all these rules in place. I can't wait for Friendly Geordies to get hold of this story. Cool. You have a balaclava. You'll send it to me. Great, John. Great, the Fox. I'm looking forward to it. Oh dear. So I just don't understand it all. Everyone, I'm just putting it all in here and I'm just scrolling down. So this was so Samantha Maiden says PM seeks urgent advice on whether Christian Porter's blind trust conforms with ministerial standards as tax questions emerge. Mike Dreyfus, as I said, he's a QC. Australia is now led by someone who doesn't know right from wrong. He has to ask someone else if it's wrong for a cabinet minister to receive up to $1 million from secret donors with unknown motives. No questions asked. That is the issue that I have. We know it's up to about $1 million. What's the condition? Who is going to hand over $1 million? No question asked. Who's going to hand over $1 million? Oh, the shovel. The shovel is a satire. The shovel is satire. It says, update. Scott Morrison says he's concerned about whether Christian Porter's blind trust has breached ministerial standards and will seek further advice from Christian Porter. Hello, Kim. How are you? So, anyway, that is... So someone else has just put here, as a public servant, I nearly lost my job over a $10 soap gift set I received from a grateful client. I had to return it. How the heck can Porter accept $1 million? No questions asked. I no longer self-conscious at news speeches. Thanks. Rory, I haven't really looked into that, but I've seen some brief stuff on that. I'll see if I've got time. I'm trying to keep my streams down to the hour mark at the moment, just because I think if the shorter they are, the better. I don't mind long ones either, but I just find that the shorter ones, we can just pack everything in if we can. So that is the latest on the Christian Porter saga. So, no, I back that just, yeah. So, do you think he'll be made to pay? Well, here's the thing. So we know that he's got to decide, Porter's got to decide. They said he's sitting down to consider his options, whether he's going to name names or whether he's going to return the money. So is he going to shaft is he going to throw his donors under the bus, or is he going to give the money back? So what do you reckon? Throw the donors under the bus or give the money? What do you think? Bill says neither. You don't think he'll do anything? So you think they won't find that it's breached any codes? Porter, in my opinion, Porter's the type that will throw his donors under the bus. But that's just my opinion. Because he'll want to keep the money. Well, that's the thing, Rory. I mean, he's got to have a 7.5% swing against him, I think. Depends on what he promised them on the side. He will give it back his way. Probably, Cal. Yeah. Oh, dear. This is untouchable, hey? Oh, you reckon it's Twiggy or Gina? Well, I have heard China. There's lots of people trying to guess at the moment, but China has come up as well. So I guess we have to wait and see. I would like to think that the Prime Minister is going to hold him to account, but I have a bit of a feeling that it won't happen. Okay. So the OECD, Trump. Maybe it was Trump. Well, ScoMo was a Trump fan. So OECD calls on Australia to raise GST, lift jobless benefits, and review the Reserve Bank to deal with economic fallout from COVID. Remember, we are ranked last in the OECD for COVID, and they managed to get Matthias Cormann on top of the OECD. So now the federal government has been urged to embark on a major tax reform, including increasing the GST to help pay down massive debt from coronavirus relief measures. In its latest review of the Australian economy, the Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development said the GST should be raised to take burdens off income and company taxes. Cal, I can take things as a joke. It depends whether Nightbot thinks it's truth. Oh, really? So the Paris-based group called for an increase in the unemployment benefits and a review of the Reserve Bank. Interesting. They weren't like that. Government won't like that. The OECD agreed with forecasts from the Reserve Bank and leading Australian economists that the strict lockdown in New South Wales and Victoria, there should be no N on the end of that, we're likely to see the national economy shrink over the current September corner. That's funny, Cal. In the environment of a higher community transmission of COVID-19 and lingering uncertainty, will remain gradual even when restrictions are eased. That's right. It was always said it was never going to rise. The organisation is led by former Australian Finance Minister Matthias Cormann. So the OECD predicted the Australian economy would expand by 4% this year and by 3.3% next year, a downgrade from its forecasts. The Federal Treasurer pushed back on the OECD's recommendation that Australia increase the GST. Gee, finally, something I agree with. Josh Frydenberg told Sky News that tinkering with the GST was not on the government's agenda, although other tax reform is. We do have other plans, obviously, to cut taxes at every opportunity we find. We've done that on income tax. We've done it on company tax for businesses with a turnover of less than 50 million. The OECD wants to see, said he would consider a review of the Reserve Bank. You know what the Treasurer didn't, guess what the Treasurer didn't talk about? And Sky News didn't ask about? The increase into the unemployment, which is what everyone is calling for. The OECD also called on Australia to step up its efforts to limit temperature rises and environment. Australia is under pressure from the international community to commit to net zero carbon emissions by 2050. So it's interesting that Sky News didn't push them on the unemployment. So they said an increase of GST and unemployment benefits. They've addressed everything but the unemployment benefits. Oh, really? Well, I'd be for cutting wages for the politicians. I think that should be a really good idea. Actually, Friendly Geordie shared something before that was funny about Bruz. So. Oh, wow. See, I always said I had a big head. I got a big head. All right. Just waiting for something to load up. All right, yeah. So let's watch something. I was going to do this at the end, but let's do it now while I'm waiting for the other thing to load, because this was funny. So this was live on the ABC yesterday. This was at the ABC News. Okay, this was the ABC News. I will play. Yeah, I may need. I agree with that. The Fox. We may need to play this a couple of times for you to get it. So this is the sports reporter, and he has a slip. He has a bit of a slip. Let's have a listen to what he says.
Is set to undergo neck surgery, but medical staff remain confident that the veteran will be fit for the Ashes. It has a bulging dick. That's a funny one. Has been causing him pain. I'm going to throw you very quickly.
All right, did you hear that? I'll redo it. Have a listen to it again.
Skipper Tim Payne is set to undergo neck surgery, but medical staff remain confident that the veteran will be fit for the Ashes. Payne has a bulging disc that has been that's a funny one, has been causing him pain. I'm going to throw to you very quickly, Michael. Bulging what? Disc. I said disc. That's what I thought you said. Thank you.
I'm just going to drink water.
Hey, over to you.
Why me? Don't bring me in. It's my question. I'm not. I'm not.
I'm going to play that again. I've watched this numerous times, and it cracks me up every time. Cracks me up. So I'm going to play it again. Yes, like the deck. Yes, like the deck. Yes, a bulging disc. That's what it should be. That's what it should be. I'm going to play it again because this does not stop being funny. I just love it how he just casually.
The skipper Tim Payne is set to undergo neck surgery, but medical staff remain confident that the veteran will be fit for the Ashes. Payne has a bulging dick that has been that's a funny one, has been causing him pain. I'm going to throw to you very quickly, Michael. Bulging what? Disc. I said disc. That's what I thought you said. Thank you.
I'm just going to drink water.
Mate, over to you.
Why me? Don't bring me in. It's my question. I'm not. Morning, 10.
So there you go. Is my mic working? Because I'm not. Yes, that was classic. So that is the national broadcaster. So anybody that says that the national broadcaster is not funny doesn't know what they're talking about. We are easily amused, the Fox. I have to say, I've giggled over it quite a bit. The worst part is I actually screen recorded it, and it's on my phone, so whenever I want to laugh, I put it on. There's a question for when we have our sports commentator guest on again, ask him if he's ever had gaffes. I know it's not funny, but it was just the fact that it was okay. Now this was well, that's right, Cooper. I'm the same as you. I need to right. So this was on. This is good old Bruz man. It says, Quick, someone called Detective Matthew McQueen. He's got some arresting to do. So this one says, hot tip, when in at John Barilaro's regional daily briefing with a few dozen other journalists, mute the mic before ranting to colleagues, post questions. All right, mute the mic, apparently. So let's have a look.
Exactly locally, but I'm happy to have a look at that. I'll come back to you.
Thank you.
Okay, Javier.
I'll be down. Same thing, scared, hungry, freaking rumours. No,
Good morning. Good afternoon now. Can you hear me?
turned his camera off on me. Sorry, I'm pissed off. He purposely did that. I saw him fiddling around with the thing and he turned the camera off when it was replying to my question. And that's why I said,
Sky, we can hear all of that, and that's not correct. I didn't turn off the camera. I was actually trying to find the next question. So, Sky, we heard that everything you just said. Disappointed it. And everyone else heard it as well, just letting you know. Sorry, Javier, you go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I promise whatever I say, I'll say to you that.
There you go. If journos get to sort out their misunderstandings right then and there rather in court, why can't you? Leave. Just finished in the hearing per. Also, the sense of entitlement the Sky journalist has here rocks my socks because they don't care about anything but how they appear. Accident or on purpose?
Any patients being transported to Gosford Hospital or to the...
All right.
The issues, I don't know.
Are you aware of any, have any Western Sydney patients been transported to Gosford Hospital or to the Central Coast yet?
I have no idea, but I'm sure that's happened if in the past. That current, I don't know. I don't think it really matters. The reality is we're a network of hospitals. All our hospitals are there to serve all of New South Wales citizens.
So that's what she was complaining about. So it says, decide for yourself, accident or on purpose. He's not even hiding it, is the comment. So there you go. That's what she was ranting about. G'day, COVID poo. How are you? So what do you reckon? On purpose or deliberate that Bruz muted the camera? Calling Sky journalist. Well, why? Here's the question. He said, I was trying to look at the next question. I thought they were questions without notice. Has he just given away that all the questions have to be pre-asked? They have to be sent in and approved. He was going to pick his nose. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. All right. So let's get on to Todd Chrisley. I agree, Rufus. I think he was trying to do everybody a favour. All right. So here is what Todd Chrisley tweeted today. It's official. The race is on and the litigation begins with KJ and WOACB. Her attorney has been noticed and my suit is being drafted as we speak. I hope this answers everyone's questions. We'll send copies, Mary. LOL, they blasted them to everyone she wanted to silence, but that got no traction. And now she's trying to settle with two other women and offering NDAs to which they won't agree to. I intend to prove everything I've stated and then some. Now, I believe the two people that she took TROs out against, she's offered them an NDA. That she's offered them an NDA, just like she did with Steve. So they can't talk about it. However, neither of them have accepted it, and they both want to see it through to the end. That's my understanding. I don't know which one he contacted. So, but this is interesting. She's trying to settle with 2 other women and offering NDAs. Well, maybe, yeah, well, maybe. I'm waiting to find out that Bruz has got a donor. Oh, really? Oh, wow. So, yeah, so they've... So I believe, yeah, my understanding is that they're both rejected NDAs, and they're both got new court dates, and they're going to see it through, and they are going to not only defend to prove that the harassment is, that she brings a lot of it onto herself. So, and we know she does because she interferes. So this is, now it was interesting that he mentioned Meri, because today she was on a Meri Brown attack. So today she was attacking. I can't believe anyone still buys LuLaRoe, this such scammers. Every single time I see someone in LLR, I feel like I saw a bunch of patterns that threw up on a person. Right. And we know that she is the epitome of fashion, right? Yes, this is what we're talking about now. This is what we're talking about now, Meri Brown. So it looks like Todd Chrisley's going to send Meri Brown the lawsuit. So maybe he's going to encourage her. So LuLaRoe, when patterns throw up on an otherwise gorgeous woman. No, but there's supposed to be a lockdown protest on Saturday, and the police have actually calling a halt to public transport. No public transport can go into the city. She did go into Meri's lives with her followers, yes, and harassed her. She did. Then she goes, and then we've got this chestnut. Oh, it's going the wrong way. Oh, no, that was it. That's that one. Then she did that one. Then she's done. All right. Repost. So today she's going after LuLaRoe. McKelty Padron, Christine Brown's daughter, promotes her self-employed business of LuLaRoe. This promotion is within days of damning docuseries about the company. Now, they settled with the state of Washington. So they've settled. More than 100 former retailers are bankrupt. Poor McKelty grew up in a cult. She just moved into another cult. I have a really... Yeah, public transport is... My issue is she jealous that they're making money from clothes? Because some people do. Don't be fooled by Meri Brown's fake woe is me Instagram stories. She posts many of these as inspirations for her LuLaRoe, for her cult LuLaRoe, using inspirational quotes and manipulation to convince women they can do anything despite the odds is a common strategy for MLMs. Meri isn't broke either. She qualified for this Cancun trip by selling more than $50,000 in clothes per month. Meri is one of less than a few dozen in LLR that is making bank. She used this post to actively recruit new retailers to work under her. What she didn't tell you is that LuLaRoe has been sued over 50 times for fraud, sales tax fraud, labour issues, not paying vendors, not refunding retailers, and for running an illegal pyramid scheme. 100 former retailers have filed for bankruptcy. Women are told to submit to their husbands, retire their husbands, and eventually allow their husbands to take over the company. What? Meri is a reality star who has been selling LOR for years, had a massive following, and you'll never achieve her level of success, but she will make money while you probably lose money and are left with a shed full of ugly clothes you can't sell. Meri Brown blocked me 2 years ago for a video I did calling her out for her predatory use of social media to recruit people into LOR. Covering LOR is not new for me. Predatory? Oh, predatory. That was my son, by the way, that put his head in and said predatory. That was my son that you would have heard him. Wow, she's not pulling punches here. She's I won't be surprised. All right, see you, Cal. I won't be surprised if there's another lawsuit coming her way. I feel sick after what Richard hit me. Every single time Meri posts some sob story about being abused, neglected, ignored, not loved, it's a manipulative tactic used by Lula Rose sales tactics. According to docuseries, encourages her reps to constantly use sob stories to lure others into the scam. Video coming soon. Who else do we know that uses a sob story about being harassed and stalked? Someone else, and then talks about having a medically fragile child and how harassed they are and stalked and gets hundreds of dollars in super chats. Same tactic, different cult. Meri Brown clapped.
I'm going to tell you guys something. I'm pretty sure that some people are on here not being very nice about a certain documentary that is out that you need to understand that not all things that are edited are correct. I'm just saying. So there's that. I'd really like Crystal Ball. Oh no, Crystal Ball is like the biggest joke of somebody who thinks she knows info, but she's not. So she knows nothing. It's super. Sarah, I'm going to.
So there you go. She's the biggest joke. Meri Brown just clapped back at the trolls asking about docuseries Lula Rich. She claims the docuseries is edited and filled with lies. She also lashed out on me and said, I don't know anything. I just reported on her involvement in the pyramid scheme. No, she said she had predatory behavior. You can't say that about someone and then complain that they've clapped back at you. Well, I'm wondering that as well. That's why he said, I'll send you a copy, Meri. Now she's going back to say that she reports on things. Hello. Meri Brown admits she watched my videos about her family. She called my coverage comical, claiming she doesn't know where I get my information. Wow, Meri, I get them from your public posts, court records, and the show. I don't know. Is the show lying about you? So this is what she says.
Information.
All right.
Because it's comical. Okay, Abba Kimberly, because she probably watches me. I blocked her from my group, but you know, she's a weirdo, and I don't even care. And she'll talk trash about me, and I don't even care because I have actually seen some of her videos where she talks about like her family, and I don't know where she gets her information because it's comical. Okay, Abba Kimberly.
There you go. That's really interesting, isn't it? Meri Brown is really pressed about the coverage related to Lula Rich. Earlier today, I reported that Lula Rich encourages retailers to use sob stories to get new recruits. Meri frequently uses this tactic with her fans. Apparently, that makes her upset with this silly lady. As I said, who else uses sob stories?
It's fine. Okay. So we love block parties. Block parties are the best. Oh, that's awesome. I'm so glad. Of course she's going to do that because she's amazing like that. But it's okay. Crystal ball. She's such a silly lady who thinks she knows everything. It's fine. Okay.
There you go. She's such a silly lady. And then she goes, for $44, you can look like a clown or a twister board. So now she's making jokes about, I mean, it's not something that I would wear, but you might like it. Meri calls this boho. No, Meri, this is multiple patterns threw up on a shirt. Actually, I don't mind it, to be honest with you. That looks all right to me. Someone says, I see all your posts directed at LuLaRoe. Yes, it's not okay to like, yes, it's okay not to like what other people are choosing for their life, but there comes a time where you acknowledge it and you let it go. The constant prodding is kind of like middle school. I love your content about processing the toxicity of Christianity via the documented lives of the Duggars, but some people just being their ridiculous selves can be set aside. If you want to bring about exposing pyramid schemes, you don't have to do it by mean girl in Meri. Everyone has life trauma to heal from, even those who hurt people. We can protect ourselves and not prod at those who are ignorant. If you are on a live stream and see these prints and I think I need this, you probably need to turn off your phone and go outside for a bit. $44 plus $5 shipping. If you are on a live stream and see these prints and I think I need this. What? Hello, LER. It's not your style, the fox. Well, and well, she is becoming the laughing stock of YouTube, and that's the problem. Meri Brown was talking about the boyfriend tea and then brought me up for literally no reason.
We should talk about the boyfriend when Crystal is on here. That'll give her some fodder for her silly little thingy that she does. Okay. What was I starting to? We should talk.
Yeah. So on tonight's episode of What Not to Wear, a $34 plus $5 shipping t-shirt that kind of flares at the bottom, but not as much as the perfect tee. Really? Some of those. I don't mind some of those. Too low cut. You wouldn't wear it either, Rufus? The thing is, some people can wear that and look really, really good. Well, it could be harmful to Meri's business. That's a very good point. It could be very harmful to Meri's business. Because I believe she was riling up her peeps. Oh, well, did we get there? Yeah, we got that. So let's go. I think I've got up here. I've got here Katie Joy on Twitter, because she also did it on Twitter. Meri Brown insists the shirt patterns are intentionally mismatched, even though the back is fully matched. Does anyone know if this is a real style or is it a bad cut? Now it appears this is the actual pattern. Interesting choice. And then she goes, I can't find if it's a real pattern. Who's got time to check on this? And we know that she was there. Look, she's taken screenshots, so she was in there. Well, Meri could get more views. True, that could be. There is that. So today was all about. Oh yeah. So she was on about the fact that she won settlement again. Michelle Duggar was snubbed by her family. Roadhog threatening to sue my husband because Roadhog illegally uploaded my husband's copyrighted original song is hysterical. Please take him to federal court pro se. You will lose. You cannot use original audio and work. But it was a parody. It's exempt under the parody rules. Weird Al Yankovic made a whole career out of it. Don't threaten my husband into compliance with you after you call me a B and other derogatory names for 45 minutes straight. You deserve a strike. So because he called you a name, he deserves a strike. Nobody deserves a strike. Oh, I think I got internet troubles. Meri Brown's manipulatively luring fans into the cult, apparently. You got a copyright strike for your video? Really, Rufus? You can get a copyright strike or you can get a copyright. There's two different things. I don't get strikes. I get warnings. Just means you can't make money from it. And that's fine. Happens to me all the time. Meri Brown is currently live on Facebook floundering while trying to sell LuLaRoe. The backlash from the docuseries LuLaRich is filling up her comments. She clapped back about the series, calling it edited. She also lashed out about me, about news about the series. Yeah, it's a copyright notification, but Todd actually struck somebody for using his music, which I think is in poor taste, because the other thing is that any money made gets divided, goes to the person. If Toad was smart, if Toad was smart, he would remove the strike and take the income from it, because he'd be making money from it. That's where he's not thinking. Meri Brown called questions about the document, which exposed LuLaRoe's predatory practices, pyramid schemes, lawsuits, and cult-like. Meri Brown is blaming the backlash she's getting about LuLaRich on me for reporting the news about her involvement in the alleged pyramid scheme. She's talking. She's now said alleged. She said the business is doing great and all reports about LuLaRoe are lies. Well, Katie says all the reports about her are lies too. Hey. Like, what do you want me to do? Meri Brown said someone with a crystal ball is getting everything wrong about LuLaRoe, even though I simply reported about the docuseries and her involvement in the company. LuLaRoe has seen declining sales, retailers fleeing the company, 50+ lawsuits, and a new class action in California. Meri Brown says the company is doing great. All of those facts are lies. But the thing is, if Meri Brown's making 50 grand a month, that's more than what KJ's making. Just saying. Meri Brown's fans are currently encouraging her to sue me. They are falsely claiming that I'm being sued by multiple people. They're also falsely claiming I lost lawsuits. I'm merely speaking about a docuseries that reports on LuLaRoe's lawsuits. Jill Duggar takes steps to break free from the upbringing. What on earth is that? She decided to get into running. They do, don't they? Meri Brown insists the shirt's pattern, so that's what she's saying. So for some reason, watching the LuLaRoe sale live stream with Meri Brown reminds me just how ugly these clothes are. Why do women hate so much by wanting them to dress in these horribly flattering patterns and cuts? Meri Brown says crystal ball is such a silly lady that she thinks she knows everything. This live is funny. Is Meri Brown drunk? I can't decide. That's funny, Katie Joy, because that's the question we ask for many of your lives. Mary Brown said she was going to give me fodder by talking about her boyfriend. That's what she said. Well, at least she has a good sense of humor, but I don't believe she has a boyfriend unless LuLaRoe is her boyfriend. What is she doing? Who does the designs for LuLaRoe? Is it a third grader? Maybe a 5-year-old? Do they really sit around in a design room and high five over these cuts and patterns? I'm so lost how anyone can buy this stuff. People in predatory MLMs like to deny the facts and truth about their company because the truth would mean they are preying on others, profiting off other people, losing money, and taking advantage of their family and friends. LuLaRoe seller Meri Brown is blocking anyone that questions her about the docuseries LuLaRich. The series exposed the company for predatory sales tactics, fraud, and over 50 lawsuits. Meri called the series a lie, edited, and that doing LLR is doing great despite declining sales. That's correct. Plan to create. Meri Brown is now lashing out at her customers about how Sister Wives betrays her. She's blaming editing and claims that fans only see 42 minutes of her life in 12 episodes. She also said, if it bleeds, it reads. A misquote. She backtracked and said, what you see on TV is reality. Of course it's highly edited. I mean, who thinks, hello, Christine, who thinks that show wouldn't be highly edited? And she's right. Drama sells. They want drama. They don't want to see everyone getting on. Meri Brown is, how many, has anyone been counting the tweets? Meri Brown is telling people, asking her about LuLaRich docuseries as not nice. People are concerned she's ripping off her fans and using her reality TV fame to scam her audience. Over 100 women have declared bankruptcy. Others lost everything, even their marriages. Meri Brown just called LuLaRich fake news. She also claimed it was bogus. How do women who lost their life savings fake or bogus? Fans are trying to get Meri Brown to jump ship. You know, when you've seen someone you adore in a burning building and they are denying there is a fire, that's the current situation with LuLaRoe and their remaining sellers. Reminds me a bit like somebody with a crystal ball. Like burning building. Here is part of what she said about LuLaRich. Of course she's going to say that because she doesn't want to have business ruined.
Some people are on here being very nice about a certain documentary.
Now, to be honest, that actually looks very nice on her. Andrew, that's a very good question. Very good question. So that's the end of that account. I don't know whether we can find the other, what she put on the other account. I don't know. And don't forget, she was watching the docus. She was watching Meri Brown's live as well. And if Meri Brown had said she blocked her, how was she watching it? She had to have had a sock out. Tell me how that would have happened. I do like to read. Meri Brown can sell clothes. Okay, she hasn't posted anything since yesterday. So on the other account. So what are your thoughts on all of this? No, I'm breaking up. Breaking up is hard to do. They say that breaking up is hard to do. Oh, dear me. So as I said, Todd Chrisley is saying that her lawyers have been notified. There's a lawsuit coming. He's sending a copy to Meri Brown. I think it's going to be all on. So what are your thoughts on the matter? I'd be slapped by the bot if I say what I think. Cool. Me, a great poker player. No, I can't keep, I would not be able to keep quiet. You think you've missed a lot? Yeah, I'm going to put... let me see. I need to find... There's been a... Oh, I need that 5G. Well, I got the Pfizer. The 5G doesn't work with the Pfizer. Claire Bear's parody is good. Yeah. Okay, I'll have to have a look at that one too. There's so much I've missed. I've had uni all day today. So I'm not going to be streaming every night from now on. While I am in lockdown, I will, but once we get to back to normal life, if we get back to normal life, I'm actually going to have a life. Jimmy Reeves, yes. The Pfizer. I'll see if I can find Claire Bear's video and I'll put it in for you to all have a look. So 2027. Oh, I'll be really old by then. Because you and Ralph should cover someone. Because I've met somebody in lockdown. And yeah, interesting. Who told me I could have apparently there is another life. Oh boy. Oh. So let me find Claire's video. And that's all I'll tell you for now. There's a few people that know who know all the details, but they're keeping quiet. No, Will, that was me. Oh, no. I swear that happened. Anyway, you haven't heard? No, we haven't heard from Rick for a while. I have to actually see how he's going. As now mentioned, 90%. Well, didn't you hit 80%? Didn't New South Wales hit 80% of first vaccines? I mean, that does help when you've got everybody else's vaccines given to you. Maybe he's locked in cage. Well. Oh. The only secret I believe is in Victorious. Oh, dear me. But anyway. I don't know, Totally Clueless, because when I actually had freedom, when I did actually have freedom, I wasn't meeting anybody. I haven't been live for a while. I actually have had some study to do. So So anyway, that's why. So anyway. Oh, really? You heard Bruz say everyone would have freedoms? Yeah, look, I don't know what's going on. Has she been doing annual press conferences? OECD. Yeah, I think I was on. Yeah, I did Monday. I did I do last night? I thought I was on last night. Yes, I did last night too. Yeah. However, I'm going to head off now. I've still got some more assignments to do, but fortunately, I have a week off coming off. I've got a week off coming up. Oh, you meant Gladys? Okay. Oh, you meant Gladys? Okay. Well, Gladys didn't turn up to Parliament the other day either. We know that. Yep. So I'm going to leave it there tonight. So thank you for joining me, and we will continue tomorrow night. We will see what the fallout is. We'll see what happens on Twitter tomorrow with KJ, because if Todd Chrisley's filing that lawsuit, we will hear about it, I guess. And yeah, so thank you for joining me, and I will catch you again tomorrow.